Hey everyone, welcome to my video series, which is dedicated to inspiring you through biblical and universal principles. Today I want to talk about when your circumstances don't match your vision. There are some of you watching this video right now when you feel like you're not at the place in life that you think you should be. You haven't quite achieved your dreams, your goals, or you don't think you're in the vision that you imagined for your life. Maybe you're not where you think you should be financially, or as far as your career is concerned, or with your family, or maybe you want a family and don't have one yet. Maybe it could be a myriad of things that is impacting you, and you just don't feel like you're in that vision that you've had, and you don't feel like you are where you think you need to be in life at this stage and at this point and at this time. So I just want to encourage you and hopefully offer something positive for you to think of. And I know how frustrating it could be. Sometimes I get frustrated. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm where I need to be. But whenever I feel this way, and whenever I feel those pockets of emptiness in my life, or when I start feeling frustrated, I begin to ask myself questions. And when I question myself, usually I get to an answer or I get some sort of resolution. So I want to invite you to ask yourself some questions. So I have a couple of questions that you may want to consider when you start to feel frustrated as it pertains to your goals, your dreams, and your vision for your life. So the first question I think that I usually ask myself, and I think that you should ask yourself, is, number one, am I doing all I need to do to get to my vision, to get to my dreams, to achieve my goals? We want to make sure we honestly ask ourselves this question. Sometimes on our way and on our journey to our vision, we're going to have to, am I working hard enough? You're going to have to work harder. You're going to have to sometimes burn the midnight oil. Sometimes you're going to have to get up earlier. You have to ask yourself, am I really, exhausting everything that I have? Am I really putting 100% in to get to where I need to be? Am I learning the things I should be learning in this stage? I mean, we should be continually learning in life. Are there some skills that I need to pick up along the way? Should I educate myself? Should I go back to school? These are questions that we need to ask ourselves. There's just so many things. So we have to make sure that we're doing all that we need to do to get to where we need to go. Also, we need to think about integrity. Right? So for example, if you want to open up your own business, you want to be an entrepreneur, are you faithful over the little things? Because God is not going to give you a lot if you're not faithful over the little things. So do you show up on time? Or are you late all the time? God is looking at these things. Are you a person of your word? Is your word impeccable? The little clients that you do have now, and the services that you do give now in a smaller capacity, are you good with these people? Do you treat them well? Do you call them back? Do you give them excellent service? So these are the things that you need to consider. So we need to be faithful over the little things that we have. The job, you don't like the job that you're in right now, for example. The job that you have, are you giving 100% at that job? It may not be the ideal job, but you gotta work that job. So God is looking at these things and how we operate before He blesses us with more, right? So we need to make sure that we really consider and really understand that, am I doing everything that I need to do to get to where I need to go? And I know that some of you are already working hard and you're doing the very best that you can, but working hard is not enough. Sometimes we have to consider and think about, okay, am I doing the right things at the right time? So sometimes we could be doing the right things at the wrong time. So that's why prayer and being spiritual and being connected to God is so very important. And the next thing we need to consider is, do you have a plan? Do I have a plan? What's your plan? I mean, the vision and it coming to pass is just not going to fall out of the sky. God is just not going to give us stuff, right? So we need to have a plan with that. So whatever your vision is for your life, it could be on a large scale, on a small scale. If your vision is just to be healthier, more, mentally stronger, more emotionally stronger, you have plans for your family, whatever your vision is, you need to have a plan with that. All right. So we just can't look at our circumstances and complain all the time. Okay, I don't have this. What's the plan for today? What's your plan 6 months down the line? What's your plan a year from now? Every day that God wakes you up, it's a day that you should be doing something, even if it's for an hour, right? So this is how I look at things. I look at things, okay, I'm very busy. I work long hours, but I make sure that I carve out some time to work on my plan and then work on my dream every single day. Even if it's for 30 minutes. I have to be doing something in the day that I'm alive and that I'm awake that's going to lead me closer to my dream and fulfilling the vision that I believe God has for my life. And I think you should be, if you're not thinking this way, you should be thinking this way as well. So we need to consider, okay, am I doing everything that I need to be doing to get to where I need to go? And the second thing that you should question yourself with, or the second question that you should ask yourself honestly, is, am I observing universal and spiritual principles, right? So chiefly, I want to talk about the principle of faith. Faith is so important. Faith is the anchor to any and every vision that we have. We have to have faith because faith is the thing that's going to see you through to the end, right? So if you don't have faith, you're not going to be grounded, right? So I just want to talk about faith real quick, because sometimes we get faith confused. Some of us don't really know what faith is. Faith is not believing in things that's not true or being out of touch with reality. Faith is not just a desire, right? Faith is just not, a strong wanting of something, right? Faith is absolute trust in God, no matter what. Regardless of how things look in your life, that you're going to absolutely positively trust God anyway. Hebrews 11:1, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So I'm going to trust God anyway, although I don't have the funds, although I don't have the resources, although people don't believe in my dream and they laugh at me. I'm going to completely trust in God because I believe that this is what God has for my life. So you have to have faith, and you have to observe the principle of faith. Also, faith is seeing things the way God sees it, right? Because if we don't have God's vision, then we will not be able to see the truth and be able to see our vision through, right? Sometimes when we're not spiritually connected, when we're not praying, when we're not fasting, when we're not meditating, what happens is that we get bombarded with worry and with anxiety, and we begin to start focusing too much on the natural and what's not working out for us. So when we plug into God and when we connect to God, what will happen is that we will begin through faith to get God's vision, right? Because what happens is that, and with God, he begins to change our minds about things, because we see through our mind before we see through our eyes. Our mind tells our eyes what it's perceiving and what we're actually seeing. So when we get God's mind and God's vision, then we begin to see things the way he sees them. So even if we're in a messed up situation and things are just not right, when we begin to see things the way God sees it, we begin to have hope, we begin to have trust, and then we begin to have the power to move forward regardless of how bad things seem. And the thing about life is that it's subject to change at any time, right? So you're not going to be in this situation or in the situations that you're in your life forever. Things could change at any time. God can change it at any time, but we have to make sure that we're on the right track. And then there's other principles that we should be observing, that we need to observe. I'm just going to give you another example of a universal principle. It's spiritual and it's natural. It's the principle of wealth, right? So for example, I think a lot of religious people, they get part of it right. They get part of it right. So they'll tithe and they'll give offerings, but they're not investing and they're not saving their money, and they're wondering why they're broke, and they're praying and rebuking the devil. And I'm like, okay, there are people out there who are atheists, that don't believe in God, that thinks it's silly, and they are prospering because they are giving. Giving is just one aspect to the principle of wealth, right? They're giving, they're investing, and they're saving. And a lot of religious people don't do that. A lot of Christians are not doing those things. So we have to make sure that we are, so if you want to be financially independent, if you want to start your own business, you have to make sure that you're observing not only spiritual principles like the principle of faith, but also natural principles, right? So I just wanted to share that little bit with you. Definitely ask yourself those questions. Definitely be encouraged that this is only temporary, that things can change in your life at any time. And if your circumstances is not lining up with the vision that you think you have for your life. And also, I just want to add one extra thing is that God is not going to give us something that's that violates his law, that's against his law. So this is why I'm going back to what I said earlier. It's important for us to have his vision, right? Because he's not going to give us something that's going to be in opposition toward, his law. Because at the end of the day, that's going to be detrimental. So if you're moving in a way that's against God's word and against God's law, he's not going to give it to you, point blank. But at the end of the day, God wants to see each and every one of us be successful because he's created us for success. That vision that he's placed inside of you, he wants it to come to pass, right? So I want to encourage you not to give up, not to stop trusting him, not to stop believing in yourself, and to just keep going regardless of how things look in your life. So be blessed, be well. I believe in you. And let's do this thing together. Let's move together because I'm in the same boat too. But keep going, and God will see you through, and some amazing things will happen in your life if you don't quit. So take care and be blessed.